Now, Washington Mornings on the Mall.
105.9 FM.
And AM 630.
WMAL.
It is 7:37 on WMAL, where Washington comes to talk. Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman. And we are joined on the line now by Stuart Varney from the Fox Business Network. Stuart, how are you?
Brian, I'm very well. How about you?
Well, I'm doing pretty well. I always look to you as a guy, and I'm sincere when I say that. I'm not kidding around. You help me understand complicated things. You have a good way, as I used to say, of splaining stuff.
Well, look, flattery is the mother's milk of television, so I'm all yours.
Glad to know that. Listen, I keep reading stories about the Libor scandal, and I see that Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner is going to be on the Hill testifying about it. Honestly, I'm a fairly intelligent guy. I've tried to understand this, but I don't understand the scandal. Can you help me understand what this is all about?
Well, first of all, you use the word Libor, and that's a ratings killer.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody understands it. Everybody turns off.
Emphasis on the bore.
Libor stands for London Interbank Borrowing Rate. It is an interest rate which is used as the base for a lot of American mortgages. The allegation is that rate was fixed. It was manipulated by a bunch of European bankers and a couple of American banks, too. The bottom line is this amounts to a political attack on the banks, another political attack on the banks. Because who were the victims of this Libor crisis? I don't know who the victims were, but I can tell you who the beneficiaries were, American mortgage holders. Because frequently, the Libor rate was manipulated down, which meant lower monthly payments for a whole bunch of American mortgage owners. Result? A political attack on the banks, just like, I don't know, the robo-signing attack on the banks and Dodd-Frank and all the rest of it. The banks make a convenient political target. And that's what they are in this election year.
So what I'm hearing from you, if I have it right, is much ado about nothing.
In my opinion, yes. You can say, yeah, this rate was manipulated, fraud was involved. Those are very emotive words. And there will be considerable litigation about this. Lots of damages will be paid. You'll be hearing about it for years. But in my opinion, and it's just an opinion, it is much political ado about very little.
All right, let's move to the economy then, because we talked about Ben Bernanke's comments last time you were on, and since then, the Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner threw some cold water on what's going on as well about the fiscal cliff, and if we don't fix things, it's going to have a very, very profound impact on the economy. And we have retail sales that are down. Apple's numbers weren't very good yesterday. Are we headed for another recession at this point?
We're certainly spiraling down, and the fiscal cliff doesn't help. But again, an opinion of mine is that we're spiraling down for purely domestic reasons. Europe is an excuse. The fiscal cliff is an excuse. Our economy is weakening because business looks to the future and sees only problems. It sees financial regulation. It sees Obamacare. It sees a lack of demand, a lack of growth around the world and in America, and the result is we are about to contract. I think that by the fall of this year, our economy would be either dead flat on its back or actually shrinking a fraction. Not a good position to be in.
What do you draw from the comments that have come from UPS? The UPS company have said that they see problems coming, and they're always thought to be sort of a bellwether.
And they are a bellwether. They ship stuff all around the country, primarily for relatively small businesses. And when they look out to the future and see problems, they are an accurate economic indicator of our economy's future. I read a lot into what UPS said. The profits will be down, they say, as we go through the rest of this year. That backs up my theory that this economy is spiraling down. Tomorrow, we get the GDP number for the second quarter. That is a big picture reading on the state of the economy. It's likely to show growth on an annual basis of much less than 1.5%. Now, that is, I'm going to call it pathetic, because that's an economy that's simply not growing the way it ought to be. Yeah. You remember after the big recession of the early 1980s, we were getting growth rates of 4, 5, 6, 7% in some quarters.
Right.
Well, after this last recession, this time around, we have never achieved a single quarter of 4% growth. And in fact, we're now down to the 1% range. That's not good enough.
And the government is also saying that, hey, food prices may go up. Do you see any green shoots out there at all, or is it all negative, the data that we're seeing from the economy?
My position has always been that politics is the answer, actually. I think that if we turned around the whole direction of our political approach to the economy, I think America could lead the world out of recession. If you can unleash the incredible power of America's private sector instead of holding it down, if you could unleash it, I think we're back to a leadership position. We're back to growth. And that's what we need more than anything else, growth. Growth solves a lot of problems. It helps with the deficit. It certainly helps with the employment problem. Give me growth above all else. And you do that by encouraging private enterprise. You encourage it with carrots, not with sticks.
I agree with you that the political solutions could be very helpful in this situation, but one of my ongoing political theories is that Congress doesn't act, it reacts. And sadly, it may take a serious downturn in the economy to get Congress focused enough to do something positive.
I think you might be right, Brian, and I think we might be seeing that downturn right now. Maybe that's the stimulus that we need.
I think November 6th is going to be the wake-up call or the decision of where we go, one way or the other.
That's the turning point. That's the crucial election that we're facing.
Let me ask you this, because you're from England, and the Olympics start tomorrow. And to me, from what I've read, it seems like it's been a giant headache so far. But are the Olympic Games a good investment for a city?
That's a good question. I am told that the London Olympics will bring £13 billion, that's what, roughly $18 billion, into the British economy in a short period of time.
It seems like a lot.
From a purely economic point of view, I think that's a degree of stimulus, and they need it because they're flat out in recession. But the traffic jams, the extra spending, the security issues, the political headaches, the flap over the use of the South Korean flag versus the North Korean women's soccer team.
Didn't get off to a great start yesterday, huh?
Oh, but the Brits are very self-critical, that they grumble a lot. They tend to look on the dark side of things as opposed to the bright side of life. And I think that's what they're doing now. But when it's all over, I sincerely hope that it's a major success for my home country.
And that's, by the way, that's why I always like British people, because they look on the dark side.
But Stuart Varney is an exception to that rule.
I'm an American, okay?
All right. Hey, Stuart, it's good to have you.